Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome. Welcome back. Welcome back. A random, very random live that I am doing this morning, Monday morning, February 16th. Hello. Woo! I am on fire today, and I don't know where this live show is going to go, but I needed to jump on. I really needed to jump on. I'm feeling irritated, frustrated, agitated. I feel like when I get into these rants, I just sometimes like to rant. If you don't want to hear a rant, get off the YouTube today. It might trigger you. Maybe it will liberate you. Um, but yeah, I wanna get some stuff out. I am feeling a pressure cooker within humanity right now. There's a pressure cooker happening. I uh, I don't know where to start, to be honest with you. I don't know where to start. I uh, I find myself. Um, I definitely sat with Yeshua and confirmed that this was not just my own um, egoic structure that needed to vent, but that this was necessary perhaps for others feeling similar things. As of late, I've been trying to make sure that what I'm offering and what I am sharing is aligned with God and is aligned with Jesus and his teachings and his trainings with me. Um, I become more and more sort of obedient to that path. And um, making sure that my own egoic persona is stepping aside as much as possible in order for the highest outcome to come through for the information. My personality is such that sometimes I get very frustrated when I look out in the world and I want to point the finger out and blame all these people for the things they're doing. And that is something that I'm working on. I'm not going to lie, it is something that I am working on. Um, Hard. I'm trying to work on not pointing the finger at other people and blaming them, but noticing how when I watch things out there in the world, there are days where it really frustrates me, irritates me, gets under my skin. Um, Definitely one of my more, uh, one of my one of the things that I work on almost daily, almost daily. Um, the reason I wanted to jump on today is because I wanted to remind all of us, including myself, first of all, that we are in a very intense spiritual battle. And I believe that we need to talk about it every day. And I believe that talking about it does not cause it to be more intense. It does not cause it to be something that you're focusing on. You're in it. You're in it every day. You're in it the moment you open your eyes. You're in it the moment you close your eyes. Which reminds me, I had the craziest dream last night. Um, Craziest dream, but maybe I'll get back to that. Um, And so we are living in a dualistic or a polarized world, like a seesaw. Okay. Like one of those seesaws that do this, they go like that. And if we do not become masters in the actual battle that we're in, masters in the spiritual battle, masters at how we're being manipulated, masters at what is pulling us, masters at the programming, masters at navigating back into the God particle, masters at navigating back into our divinity, mastering back into the God consciousness within us. It is a battle. It is legitimately a energetic and sometimes mental, emotional, and physical battle. Some days are easier than others, and it's going to become more intense because the more that we squeeze ourselves or pull ourselves out of the battle, the more we will be magnetically pulled back to it. Like, it's almost like they're not gonna let us leave easily type of thing, okay? And so, the more that we can gain knowledge, skills, and clear understanding as to what we're in and not just pretend or, like, surface level it. I feel like where we are right now is a very surface level awareness, the top layer of, what's happening. We stay there, we're still in it. It's very easy, we see certain things, but we stay in the ease and grace of it all, meaning, like, we don't wanna rock our boat, we don't wanna rock our lives, we don't wanna make it more intense or more challenging, so we just sort of stay in what we're capable of managing or handling. And unfortunately, the spiritual battle that we're in, this tug of war, this seesaw of going into God consciousness or going into the more collective, inorganic consciousness, that's what's happening right now. The organic and the inorganic, the God consciousness or the collective inorganic consciousness, the consciousness that is pulling you and has your whole life to the external world, all the things that you're told to do and think and feel and be afraid of. Um, and it happens every single day. It's this very slow, soft manipulation. And what happens is that as you begin to move into a deeper and deeper state of God consciousness, as you start choosing this path more and more, which by the way, look around you. How often does somebody say, "Hey, have you sat with God consciousness today?" Never. How often are you programmed to receive more validation or uh, like, you get more likes or you get more like, you get this like Pavlov's dog. You get the treat if you keep talking about God. You get the treat if you keep sitting with God. You get you get the treat if you keep talking about the God particle, bringing yourself into God consciousness. That's not how this planet works. It's the opposite. Every single day, all day long, that's the last thing you're being told to do. That's the last thing you're being told to look at. It's directly in front of our faces. You have to go find, right? You have to go and really search for pure, clear God consciousness in your life. You have to actually turn everything off in order to be with God consciousness. That's odd. If we're an aspect of God, and we have this God particle within us, wouldn't we have always been from the get go, if we weren't in a spiritual battle, of course, wouldn't we always be programmed and taught to come back into this aspect and this particle of God? Because it is the entire purpose of being here on the planet is to learn how to be godlike in human form. That is the entire purpose of your life. Everything else is these beautiful experiences. But the entire purpose, the entire evolutionary shift in human consciousness is to become God-like in human form because you have an aspect of God called the God particle in you right now. And so, as a soul, you're like, this is going to be a lot of fun. Let's go do this. And now we're at a really intense precipice. The entire planet is brainwashed, numb, like unconscious to such a degree that the moment we start to kind of wake up a little bit, the programming gets louder. The moment we start to question a little bit more, the programming gets louder and we get more comfortable. We kind of just get lazy, right? We don't want to commit every day to sitting in stillness and silence with God. It's easier to just turn on the phone. It's easier to just swipe and watch all the different reels that entertain us. It's easier to just get caught up in all of the stories out there. Why is it easier to just flip your phone on, right, and watch things that just completely distract you? Why is it easier to do that than to sit quietly in stillness and connect back into God? It's not harder, meaning it doesn't take skill. It's simple. Anyone on the planet can do it. But the planet isn't designed to program us that way because that would be us freeing ourselves from this matrix. It would be us freeing ourselves from these programs. And they don't want that. So what they're going to do is they're going to create a massive amount of suffering in your world so that you need what it is that they're going to offer you. They create the suffering and then they give you the solution. And this entire planet is based around that. And so when we start moving closer and closer to this God consciousness within us, it becomes more and more of a commitment. It becomes more and more of a pull away from the world. Literally, you're pulling yourself away from the world. And then when you start sitting with that God consciousness, it's going to start to move through your body and you're going to start to look out at the world and say, holy cow, what in the freaking freak? What have I been in? You're going to get irritated. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to get annoyed. Maybe it's a phase we go through like grief, right? And you can say, well, I've been doing this since 2020, or I've been doing this since, 2001. I've been doing this since whatever. But I would argue with you and say, if you're not connecting to God consciousness, if you're not connecting to the God particle, if you're not bringing in the light of God, you're just going to be you're going to be swirling in awakening. You're not going there's not going to be a lot of movement. Okay, so the movement happens when the movement and the deeper irritability, the deeper frustration, the deeper pull out of the world is when you start filtering God consciousness through your body, when you start filtering the light of God through your body. Your cells change, your DNA changes, your eyes change, your ears change, everything changes. It all just starts to change. And you start realizing more and more these different emotional states around how the planet has been run and how you're going to navigate it, how to navigate this, right? And I think for myself, I had a real big frequency shift last week, a real big frequency shift in my body. Um, and when I have these, when I have these kind of jolts in frequency or jolts in awareness, I find myself before I kind of anchor it or settle it down. I find myself in in this frustration stage where I am right now. Um, I get frustrated with the world. I get frustrated with the unconsciousness. Um, and then I drop into a day later, 2 days later, I'll drop into compassion for humanity and being stuck in the control, in the manipulation, stuck in the programming. Sometimes I want to scream that people aren't getting it. They don't understand. I want to scream it. You're not freaking getting it. You're all, it's like, and then I realize it's okay, Lorie, you don't need to do that. You don't need to scream from the rooftops that people aren't getting it. That's not going to help the situation. Um, but when I look around and see 99.9% of humanity in deep programming, it's challenging. It's challenging. It's like when you go deeper and deeper, and I think when I go deeper and deeper into the anchoring of this new light coming in, this God consciousness coming in, and when I get these sort of like energetic upgrades. I see how far humanity is from God. Not all of humanity, but the majority of humanity. And I can see how humanity is pulled by pleasure, by pride, by money, by success, by all kinds of things. In the illusion that they're not, right? In the illusion that they're awake, that they are advanced, that they are um, whatever they tell people. Um, and I think there's a humbling that happens when we start to realize that we've never been here before. We've never been in this place on the planet before. There's a lot of people that are know-it-alls and that know everything and that want to tell you everything and want to tell you how to think and feel and be. Everybody's an expert. Everybody has the answers. Everybody has the knowledge. Um, there are a lot of traps right now that humanity is falling into. Greed and pride are probably the two biggest traps that I'm watching and that I'm seeing. I know it's definitely the two biggest, sins, seven deadly sins, right? Greed and pride are the two that Jesus is constantly having me look at, constantly having me evaluate in my own life and in my own world and on this planet. And what is running this planet? Greed and pride, control, power, which is pride and greed. It runs this entire planet. And so it needs you to be in that energy. It needs us to be in that energy. Humanity and this planet, the earth, is on an evolutionary path. It's a consciousness shift. It's a consciousness shift, which means it's an energy shift. Consciousness shift means states of being in different or new ways. And if the entire purpose of our life and humanity as a collective, the whole purpose is to remember the God particle, to remember God in form, that you are an aspect of God in form, to remember that, and that that cannot be complete in any program. The human must be free of all programming in order to be in divine connect alignment with the God particle and with God consciousness. So, what that means is that as you and I, who we are deeply programmed, deeply, as we begin to walk ourselves back into the God particle, we will slowly unchain ourselves from all programming, all programming. And if we begin, and when we begin to do that, you will start to notice who you thought you were, what the world told you you were, how complicated They make life very complicated, and how simple it becomes, how simple and yet how lonely it can be when you begin to dismantle or take the handcuffs off all of the programming. Programming is simply every single thing that you are told to do or be on this planet. When you drop into a deeper state of God consciousness, none of that works. None of that makes sense. You're almost living in this suspended state where the rules can't apply any longer. You're in this, it's exactly like what Jesus said. You're in the world, but you're not of the world. The rules don't work any longer. The programs don't work any longer. And as you begin to walk into that particle of God that's held within your physical vessel, as you begin to invite the light of God into your body, you'll notice how loud the world will get, including your mind, to pull you back, to pull you back into its arms and not God's arms, to pull you back into the pleasures of life and not the pleasures of God, to pull you back into the instant gratification through entertainment, shock and awe and wow and oh my God, and did you hear about this and did you hear about that? That's all distraction. None of it is God. I mean, it's all God because everything here is God, but it's not you anchoring the embodiment of God. It's you just in entertainment, which is fine if you're aware that you're in entertainment. But if you're not aware that you are being pulled and manipulated into entertainment, then you no longer are choosing. That's programming. So the closer that we move into this God aspect, this God consciousness, the louder the world will get to pull you back to it. And an aspect of us won't want to move into more God consciousness because it's lonely. People don't understand you. They need you to fit in with them. They need you to do it their way, the way the world does it. Makes people uncomfortable. You're doing it very differently. This doesn't make sense. What's going on? And because most of the world has not at all even come close to anchoring God consciousness, to activating the God particle, and to living more godlike, most of us are still part of some sort of program. We're in the herd. We're somehow still fitting in. But there's going to be a real big split coming on this planet. And it's not a physical split where you're going to separate from people. It's a very ridiculous theory that people may still hold. There's no splitting apart and you go somewhere and someone goes somewhere else. And my God, I ascended into some dimension and my family and animals aren't with me. That's not what's happening on the planet. It's all energetic. You're still going to be very physical. We all are. But the shift that we're going to start noticing more and more is either an organic shift into God consciousness or an inorganic shift into the absolute ridiculous technology that continues to be um, served to us, which has no God in it. No God in it. All you have to do is start looking around every day, all day at your life and say, is God here? Where is God in this? 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 What you're going to start noticing is if you courageously choose God over everything else, you will slowly pull yourself from this world, and you will merge into a world that is organic, that is pure, that is aligned only with God consciousness, only with God consciousness. You will stop searching outside of yourself for answers. You won't need the external world in the same way. You will feel separate from the world. Not because you are empathic, and you're too you have too many, you feel too much, and so you're like, I don't fit in the world. No, 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 no. No, this is very different. What humanity is about to walk into is very different than anything you and I have felt on this planet. It's brand new. Stepping into God consciousness is going to look very different than what all of us on this planet have been experiencing. Very different. We will eventually, in the next 5 to 10 years, see an actual split. Simplicity, bullshit, nonsense, absurdity, infiltration, complication, external world serving you, external world satisfying you. Ease, make it easy, make it easy, make it fast, make it entertaining. Tell me what I need. Show me what I have to do. Give it to me now. Or God. Pure, simple, boring God. Silence over loud. Boring over entertainment. Solitude over busyness. Now, you could have a busy life. You could have all kinds of stuff going on, and you can still be on this path. It is a state of being. It's a state of being. So it has no bearing on the fact on where you live, what you do for a living, how many children you have, how many grandchildren you have. That has no bearing on this path. Boring, quiet, simple is a state of being. It happens as you merge into God consciousness. And this fire that I'm feeling, this like righteous anger that I have today, it happens because you start looking out at the world and you realize this path that so many are on. You realize that people are buying it. They're not seeing it. They're not opening their eyes. They're not looking up. They're not questioning. There's so many layers of what's happening here. There's so many different layers to it all. But I see it so clearly. I see it so clearly. I see the split. And so, right now on the planet, what I encourage you, and I keep encouraging you to think about, is God. I want you to really understand as you're looking at things, watching things, listening to things. If it's not bringing you to God, at least be aware that you're choosing entertainment. That's it. Just be aware of what you're consciously choosing. Be aware. Just be aware how often throughout your day there is no awareness on God. That needs to be something that we are aware of, because what that does is it brings awareness back to, well, let me try to bring God in to this moment. Let me try to go sit for one moment with God consciousness. Let me try to breathe that God consciousness through me, or just at least having awareness of it. It's a huge step, huge. But you understand that if we are not conscious of this and we just keep going about our day, listening to all these things, telling us that we're this or we're that, or look at this, or oh my God, this is happening. If we're doing that without the awareness that there is this conscious split happening, okay, the loudness right here, this loudness, that this is the inorganic path. What we've been walking on and living in for thousands of years is the inorganic path. This path is opening up for us to choose now, because humanity is at a state of frequency, a state of vibrational state that is awakening to that remembrance of the God particle, God consciousness. That's why everyone talks about, in the more spiritual kind of new agey communities, they're talking about Christ consciousness. It's God consciousness. And the reason this is sort of permeating up onto the surface of the planet right now is because humanity is at a state of awareness where they can now begin to remember. Their frequency is high enough now where they can begin to remember, holy cow, wait a second. We are here to be God-like in human form, Christ-like in human form. 99.9% of our day, we are in the inorganic timeline. 99.9% of your day is in the inorganic timeline. How do I know? Trust me, I know, because most of us are on our phones, on our computers, on talking about this thing happening and this thing happening, um, figuring out how we're going to continue to succeed or make money, or navigate this thing or this relationship. Rarely are we sitting in stillness and silence, anchoring the light of God. We don't have time for it. But what's happening on the planet energetically is that you're going to start being pulled to this new organic timeline. And it requires massive amounts of commitment, obedience, dedication, drive, desire, choice. It's not easy. You will be challenged over and over and over. But the more of us that start choosing this, sacrificing for this, um, it's a beingness. It's not a learning. You don't just read about it. You can't. It's a beingness. You have to be with it. You have to sit with it. You have to digest the energy of it, and you have to let it change you. You have to let it move through your body, this Christed light. It's a God light that comes in. It's a source light that comes in and starts changing you from the inside out. It's not you. You don't change it. God's light changes you. And when you step over here on this path every once in a while, right? And you start letting this light change you, and then you're moved back over to that inorganic timeline for a while, you realize, holy cow, this is so loud, and you can see through so much. You're humble by how addictive it is. It's a very addictive timeline. There's a reason why social media has been scripted and created the way that it has. There's a reason there are hearts, there are thumbs up, there are likes, there are followers and subscribers. There's a reason for that. It feeds off of addiction. It feeds off of our ego. It is the opposite of God. The opposite. Following rules, following an algorithm. That's the opposite of God. Meaning, when you sit in God consciousness and then you tap into likes, subscribers, followers, thumbs up, hearts, it it's like it doesn't you're like, what, wait, this is weird. This is very weird. Now it's how we live. I get that, right? Like all of the ways that we've been programmed to live, sure, it makes sense. But when you start dropping deeper into the consciousness of God's light, this pure, the divinity, the more you're like, what in the freak? And you start realizing more and more, it starts to become more and more clear just how dysfunctional and how meticulous this planet has been created generation after generation for thousands of years to keep us in that hamster wheel, addicted to the next treat that we're going to get. And then the next treat we're going to get. And they do it in every different way possible, including creating division through subjects or experiences on the planet that are designed to create division. One of the other things you'll start noticing as you bring in the light of God into your physical vessel, you bring it into your physical vessel, and it changes and shifts your DNA slowly but surely. It activates and recalibrates your cells. You start recognizing more and more also, I've completely got completely pulled what I was just about to say. It's profound to me to realize what we're going through and what we're in right now. The power of the consciousness of God's light moving in, creator light, source light moving into our bodies, and what it's going to do for us, and how challenging it's going to be for a lot of people in terms of like, it's like we're going to start waking up to to a world that we can't. It's like, and it's, I'm assuming it's going to be gentle and soft for a lot of people. Um, we'll be able to walk through it without being impacted, with a softer heart, a deeper compassion, but with a lot more clarity, a lot of clarity. We're going to start seeing more, um, and deeper, um, manipulation. A lot of manipulation that we're not aware of yet will start to be seen. Discernment, understanding, discernment When you start integrating more of that God consciousness, your discernment becomes more pristine. It's crazy what I see right now on the planet, the amount of the egoic structure is really being fed right now. If you can feed an ego without the ego knowing it, the ego will think that it's not being fed, that it's like egoless, right? Like it's not my ego. So if the planet, if these systems that have been controlling us, these small group of people that have been controlling humanity, if they can feed your ego without you realizing that your ego is being fed, you will keep drinking from that fountain. You will keep eating from that restaurant. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening. The whole egoic structure has to be torn apart. It has to be torn down. We've been fed, this is who you are. This is what makes you who you are. These identities that we've been fed as who we are, they need to be they need to be burned at the stake. Yeah, it's not even you're not this isn't about, like, watching the news or not watching the news, right? Like, I feel like at this point, you don't even it has nothing to do with the news anymore at all. Like, I think if a lot of us were to turn on the news, it would just be like watching a circus. This is more delicate and intricate. This is more minute. This is very subtle, what's happening now. It's very, very subtle. We have to start to recognize that these obvious paths that we've become aware of, like, oh, the government is full of crap and everybody's lying to us and, don't watch the news. It's all BS. Like, that's all gravy. We're aware of all of that. Like, that's easy now. What's happening now is that it's in the things that you're not seeing yet that there's manipulation and deceit and programming. Right? It's in the stuff that you're not yet aware of that you're gonna become aware of. So, that's what we have to recognize now. Like, we all are just now beginning to understand the depths of programming that we're in. The fact that you scroll, like, right? Like, that we all do that. That's a deep program that eventually in 5 years, people are gonna be like, "Oh, yeah, remember, like, 5 to 10 years, it'll be like how we look at the news now," right? Like, "I don't scroll, that's the most ridiculous thing, blah, blah, blah," right? So all of these things that we're deeply in right now, we will eventually see as another deep, deep program, just like the government and just like, the healthcare systems and all these other things that we're just looking at now like, "Oh my god." So there's always these layers to the programming. And the more that you can, instead of trying to figure out the programming, instead of you trying to break free, um, you want to just drink in the light of God. You want to sit with God's light as often as you can. In the shower, when you're cooking dinner, when you're driving, when you're walking, when you're doing whatever you're doing, just bring awareness to God. Bring awareness to God's light, bring awareness to God inside of you, bring awareness to the breath, bring awareness to it. That's the key to all of this. That's the key to breaking free because That light that comes in is what shifts you. It is what changes you. It is what recalibrates your cells and your DNA. It is what activates deeper levels of DNA. It's what does everything. You is the ego. It's the persona, the personality that chooses and believes that it's in charge and that it's doing this. It's not. God's light is. That's how it's designed to be. It's designed to have it's the this Christed light that comes into the body is what is designed to shift you. It's what's designed to change you, not you. And just remember that all the different emotions that you feel, obviously they're not you because they're simply just energy moving through. And yeah, interesting times, you guys. Very interesting moments that we're in right now. If the frustration builds, um, let the frustration build. Where should my money come from? I don't know. What kind of job do you have? We all need jobs. We still have to live. We still have to make a living. We still need to pay our bills. That doesn't stop, right? Just because you're, beginning to choose to anchor in God consciousness, you still have to pay your bills every day. You still have to go to work. We still have to do jobs. This isn't about, um, in my opinion, this isn't about exiting out of this world. My opinion, it's not even so much about creating new systems, because even if you create new systems to live in, you still have to anchor God's light into you so deeply that you are living in an aligned state with God consciousness. That's truly the path. So you could go and create communities and go live with like-minded people, but that isn't going to we still have to anchor God consciousness into our bodies. We still have to bring in that light and anchor it in. So it's less about, I got to change my job to do this. I've got to move to do this. I've got to get a different, um, you know, I got to get out of the medical system in order to do this, or I got to no longer be doing like that isn't as important as anchoring God's light into your body no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing. We're here to be in this world. We're here to walk through all of it. And it's not contingent upon creating new systems. That may eventually happen. The old systems eventually will, in some later time, no longer resonate with humanity. And so humanity will be doing things differently. But it's like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? I say consciousness, God's consciousness should come first. I say we should be anchoring God's light So no matter what job you have, you don't have to get out of that job in order to start anchoring God's consciousness and letting that consciousness change you. You don't need to move to some other place for it to happen. You don't need to join some sort of awakened community for that to happen. You do it now, every day, all day, in life, in whatever life looks like. That's one of Jesus's greatest teachings. He doesn't teach like go run away and create some, community somewhere and then do it. He's like, do it here, do it now, do it amongst, it's all right here. You will feel heaven on earth right here in the chaos, in the evil, in the programming, in all of it. And that is why this, in my opinion, is so challenging, is because we do it here. We do it in all of it. Because even if you are like, I'm going to go and make some, create some beautiful like-minded community, those like-minded humans are still, they're just as messed up as anybody else unless they have completely anchored that God light. And if not, you're still going to have all the reaction and response that all humans have, even if you're in a different environment, right? So it's, in my opinion, it's about focusing on that God consciousness. You know, you do it amongst the chaos. You do it in the chaos. You do it every day. You do it on your commute to work. You do it in your frustration. You do it when you're cooking for your family. You do it, you just try to do it as much as you possibly can. I really, really believe it's the most important thing that we could be doing is sitting with sitting with God, sitting with the light of God. So, for all of you that are committing to this more and more, or beginning to, I just want to remind you, I just want to let you know that it doesn't always lead to an easier path, right? It's not always going to be roses and sunshine and butterflies. And, um, you may find a lot of bumps along the road as you are choosing God over this world. When you put God first before making more money, you put God first before having more success in your business. You put God first before um, you know, I don't know, finding the greatest, most spectacular house that you could live in, or you put God first before um, everything, everything. What does it mean to put God first? It means that you bring God into the equation. You bring God into the forefront. You bring God into the decisions. You bring God into your body. You bring God into your breath. You bring God into um, you just bring God in. You just have awareness of that. Waking up with God and going to bed with God. And truth comes the more that you can align with the light of God, you will feel truth. You'll be able to feel truth more. It's like as you breathe God's light into you, as you breathe in and as you pull in the light of God, you pull in this holy light, it offers you a deeper sense of discernment. It offers you clarity. It offers you truth. You see beyond the illusion more and more. Somebody will talk and you'll see bullshit right away. You'll see ego right away. You'll see what's pulling them, where their desire is, where their push is. You'll definitely see ego way more than you've ever seen it. as you bring in the light of God. And again, that is because the ego is the greatest space to manipulate people. Is that ego? Um, yeah. What are they attempting to conquer? Well, it's interesting that this morning I was laying in bed and actually I was sitting here tuning my body. I've been like using these hertz, these 932 hertz to attune my body. And I was realizing the cabal, these people that have been half people, half human, half non-human, they want our light. They don't even want our souls. They want our light. So that divine spark of God consciousness, they want to own that. They want to control it. They want to own and control um, the way in which our energy moves through our bodies, circulates through our bodies. If they can control the energetics of our body, the energy and light of our body, it feeds them. So that's really what demonic energy is, right? It comes in like a parasite and it creates a desire for you and then you feed that desire and it gets fed. So the cabal, these people, they love watching you give them your power. They love watching you obey. They love watching you follow the rules. They love watching you want more money. They love watching you fight and divide. They get off on it. They feed off of that energetically. If we were to just cut off completely from everything that the external world was asking us to give, if we stopped buying into fear, if we stopped buying into greed, if we stopped buying into pride, if we just stopped with the whole like, who cares about, gaining followers or likes or all of that, if we stopped like success, like, who cares if I make more and more money? Like, if we pulled ourselves from those poles, energetic poles, they would starve. They wouldn't know what to do. They would they would go frantic. They need us to feed them through through us satiating the desires they tell us to have. So we think it's our own desires that we are fulfilling. It's not. It's their desires that we are fulfilling, but they're telling us it's our desires. How do I know this? Because the more that I am connecting to the light of God, the pure divine light of God, all of these desires that the world has told me I need and I want are dissolving. And what that tells me is that the world I was in, with all of the desires that made me feel good, if that doesn't resonate more and more as I'm sitting with the light of God, and this feels like my purest truth, my divinity, then this is the manipulation that has been controlling me. And it's controlling me because they get fed from it. They feed off of it. They need me to be addicted to social media. They need me to feel insecure because then I will need them. They need me to play in these things. That's why when you start pulling yourself out of them, these kind of like dark demonic things, infiltration gets louder because, as weird and crazy as this seems, these energies don't want you separate and in divine consciousness. It wants you here so that it can feed. And so the more that humanity pulls away from these systems, stops feeding them by inviting the light of God in, that's the counter. That's what you want to do. The battle here is that you are fighting for your light. You're pulling in God's light, saying, "This is my truth. This is my divinity. This is who I am." You're pulling that in. You're fighting for that over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And each time you get pulled back in, because they're telling you this is what you need, this is what you want, this is what's going to make you happy, this is what's going to satisfy you. Look at how great you feel when you have all of this stuff. Don't you just want more of this? Why do you want to go over there? You don't. That's not going to do anything for you. You're not going to be fulfilled over there. You're going to be all by yourself. You're not going to fit in. No one's going to understand you. What are you doing over there? You want to be over here where everybody else is. Don't you see how much fun everybody's having? Look at how much success they're having and how much money they're making. And look at this. And there's all these people that love them. And look, you want to be over here. And that's how they do it. So you want God. I just want God. I want God. I want God. I don't want any. Then you start I just want God. I don't want this person or this person or this person or that theory or that story or that. I just want God. I just want God. And then life starts to become very simple because you're like, I just want God. And then the more you're like, I just want God, the more you realize how the entire world is telling you, no, you don't. You want all these things. You want all this stuff. So you still live your life. You still go to work. You still have a job. You still have family. You still have friends. You still have children. You still do all the stuff. Take your kids to soccer practice. That doesn't need to change. This has nothing to do with you changing your entire life. This has everything to do with choosing God over the manipulation that the world is telling you to buy into in order for you to feel okay in life, in order to feel loved and seen and held and appreciated and rich and awesome. And it's all bullshit. It's all absurd. It's disgusting, and it makes me sick to my stomach because it works and people are falling for it. Hook, line, and sinker. Just go online and watch it. Everyone is getting caught in it because they're getting the cabal, the whatever word you want to use for these half human, half not human Nephilim hybrids that have been controlling humanity for thousands of years. They are getting trickier and trickier. So even in the most spiritual of spiritual communities, those humans are in deep ego. They are in deep desire. They are in deep wanting to satisfy that ego. They're buying into it. It doesn't matter what system you're in. It doesn't matter what words you speak. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter how many followers you have or how famous you are. We are all being manipulated, and we are all unconsciously falling for it. And all you have to do is start drinking in the light of God, opening your eyes and looking out, and you will start to see it all over the place, in every community. And so you want to say, shoot, give me that faucet full of God consciousness. I need more of it because I don't want that. I don't want that. And then you realize how badly you need to drink this in order to stay with this. And it's simple. It doesn't have all the it doesn't have labels. It doesn't have there's not a lot of story that goes along with it. There's not like there's no story that goes along with God consciousness. It's just pure God consciousness. Just pure God consciousness. No stories. Just continuing to anchor that light in continuing to choose it and becoming very conscious of how loud it's getting, how loud it's getting. Pay attention to how loud it's getting. Okay, that's my little rant. I feel like I could speak for hours. I really do. But I will leave it at that for now. I am still doing my show on Wednesday, 2 p.m. Who knows what we will talk about, but we will be doing that show. Um, yeah, keep choosing God, you guys. Keep imagining that you are drinking in that pure nectar, that Christed light from the source of all creation. Oh, the dream. Thank you. So I last week I had this experience where my body got tuned into a completely different frequency. I think I told you guys. And I got my right ear has been plugged up since then, because of this event that happened. And Jesus attuned me into some super high frequency. My body's was like, "Wow." And anyways, I got vertigo last week. I told you guys that, I think. Yeah, that's why I had to cancel the show. I got vertigo. And so it's still been in my ear, but it hasn't been that bad, but I can still feel it. And I've been sitting with this this Hertz I've been listening to, 932 Hertz, and I've been putting it on, and just when I put it on, it recalibrates my entire body. So it's and I've been toning, so like toning out loud, and it moves my body's frequency back into that vibration. So anyway, last night I was sleeping, and I was in my dream. I was standing in front of a man and a woman, and the woman needed to like pull my arm down and like move it into a different socket or something. Like she needed to pull the arm to like drop it into into a different socket. And I remember starting to lose consciousness, like I was going in and out of consciousness, and this man came right in front of me and he said, Keep looking at me, don't go, don't go, don't go, don't close your eyes." And I remember fighting for my life, literally, and I was like, "I'm not going to close my eyes, I'm not going to close my eyes, I'm staying, I'm awake, I'm awake." And I remember like choosing consciousness, like like whatever, I just, yeah, just choosing consciousness. And I stayed awake, and then I immediately woke up out of my sleep, and I needed to use the restroom. So when I got up, I was so dizzy. I was like, I had vertigo, and I heard Jesus say, "You almost," this is gonna sound weird, and if my mom's watching, don't freak out, but I heard Jesus say, "You almost had a seizure." So, I don't know if I would have had a seizure when I was sleeping. I don't know if it was just like an awareness that these are things that I don't know, but I remember being very like this, um, super dizzy, and Jesus saying, "You almost had a seizure," which I found freaking weird and also fascinating, and also really curious because when frequency shifts in our bodies, um, I think we have to take it real seriously. I don't think we realize um, what happens when real big frequency shifts occur, which is why they don't occur drastically, right? Like frequency shifts occur slowly for us because our bodies are very, very sensitive. They're very sensitive. And you can't just catapult your body into these higher frequencies. Your body won't be able to anchor it. It will have seizures. It will have your brain will short circuit. That's what happens. Um, I mean, the fact that I have to sit and like listen to this 932 hertz all the time now, like all day long, is weird to me. It's very strange, but it completely moves me back into that frequency. And I'm like, oh, feels so good. Like just that feels so good. Um, and so, I've always known that, the ego has this desire of like shifting frequencies and moving into a high vibration and like, I'm just high vibe now. But I've always known that your body is going to do it slowly because it will short circuit. Like you will have psychotic breaks. Your brain will fry. It's all frequency, it's all energy. The body needs to be able to slowly acclimate that shift. And what the other thing that I was shown when I came back from that shift in frequency was we can have all the shifts in frequency we want, but if we don't learn how to anchor it into the body, it will dissolve back into the foreground or the background, sort of, right? So um, you can have all of these upgrades and activations and all these crazy things happen on plant medicine and all these different things, right? Different places you go and you get really activated, but that that comes and then it goes. The density of the planet is too heavy. It's too dense to maintain that. You have to consciously daily maintain that frequency at this point on the planet. Otherwise, it's like it gets blanketed over by the density. Um, what hurts was I listening to? What hurts is 932 is what my body is wanting. And the interesting thing about 932 is you can't find it. It'll take you to 963. Right? It's like, "Oh, you want 963?" And it's like, "No, I want 932." "No, you want 963." Like, everything's about 963, right? 963, they call the God frequency. They call it opening the pineal gland. It's like the cool frequency if you really wanna, like, right? Again, deep programming, deep programming. Um, where is 932? Why is it so hard to find 932? Why? I was fascinated by the fact that I couldn't find 932 hardly. It just shifted me to 963. It's like, I don't want 963. I want 932. And then if you looked at 963, you're like, well, you definitely want 963, Lori. It's all about God frequency and the pineal gland opening, right? And so again, because I'm like, do program, 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 I'm like, no, I don't want that. Maybe it's great, but I want what I am intuitively being told to follow, which I can't find. I can't find it. So even that is watching a program try to program me. Well, maybe it's 963. It looks really cool. I must be so advanced. Oh my God, I want the God frequency. I am so, again, ego, right? Right. Oh my God, I must be good enough and evolved enough to want that in my body. God frequency, the pineal gland opening. Yes. Ego. And what actually happens with 932 that they don't want 932 to be a famous, popular, well-known sound that you can go to? Hmm? Interesting. They are going to guide you in any system, in any community that you're in. The external world is going to control you. The external world is going to tell you, oh, this is the cool one. This is the high vibe one. This is the, and everyone's going to follow it. Pay attention. Exactly. It's 9:32, not 9:63. And if you do 9:32, watch what happens. It's going to say 9:63, no 9:32. 9:63, no 9:32. Google it right now. 9:63? No. 9:32, dang it. And you want the actual, like, you want as much of the pure frequency. By the way, I don't know if you do. I have no idea. Your body might not be able to handle it, and nor does it need to. Um, so do not do this just because I'm talking about it, but your body will know when it's like, oh, I need this. Um, I listened to, yes, I do. I listened to, um, I found this one. Okay, so on this app called, show it with you guys. This app is called Insight Timer. Insight Timer. Insight Timer. Uh, and then this is the one that I listened to. Let's see if you guys can see that. Let Your Soul Shine. Let's see. Subliminal Singing Bowls, 932 hertz. 932 hertz. Okay, so screenshot that. And then the app, again, it's an app you want to get, okay? The app is called Insight Timer, which is kind of weird. Don't ask me. And it has a little chime bowl. It's that one right there. It's that one right there. That's the one I listen to. Anyway, check it out if your body likes it. All right, you guys, that's it for now. That's all she wrote. I got to go start writing the rest of my book. Thanks for being here. Keep inviting the light of God in. Keep drinking the light of God in to your body. In. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up so we can play in the program. Hit the thumbs up button. Drink in the light of God. Join me for 40 days. 40 days 3.0. We're sitting with God for 40 straight days, February 25th to April 5th, every day for 30 minutes. We will be sitting with God, 8 a.m. California time. And it's the third round of doing this. Nothing more important than having a daily practice. And so if you've been wanting a daily practice, sitting with God, join us. 40 days 3.0. I'll put the description down below. And hi, Bulgaria. We'll put the description down below, the link to join us down below. It's life-changing. Subtle, life-changing shifts happen when you realize this entire life is about realigning and reconnecting with God's light. You should join us, Wes. Definitely join us. All right, you guys, I love you very much, and I will see you Wednesday, 2 p.m. for our next show. Bye bye.